That's great. I love that card.
Yeah.
I used to play that in standard.
Mishra's Factory. So for those of you just joining us, I'm Gavin Verhey here with Joey Pasco of Yo MTG Taps, and we're bringing you live coverage of the Star City Games Open Series, the Legacy portion, here in San Jose, California. We're going to round 3, and on your screen you'll see on your right is Blake Kinsey. Blake is battling with this pretty cool deck, and I'm sure it exists somewhere under some deck name I'm not sure of. And now that I see this picture, Blake's actually a guy, in between rounds, he came up to me and talked to me like, hey, I listened to your coverage all day yesterday. I didn't play in the standard portion. I stayed at home, listened to all your coverage. Like, here's what I thought. He gave some really great feedback. Cool guy. He's playing a neat deck with, he's got like Deed, Standstill, Factor Fiction, Crucible Worlds, Diabolic Edict, Swords of Jace. All kinds of great stuff. On the other hand, we have Open Series standby, now with much less hair, Michael Pozsgay.
Still quite a mop.
Still quite a mop, not quite as much as he had before, Michael Pozsgay, and he's playing this cool Goblin Welder deck with Welder, Servant, Grindstone as the main combo, and also like Force of Will, Mox Opal, Intuition to back it all up. So, after sideboarding, he gets access to Show and Tell Emrakul, which is kind of trippy. And it'll be really interesting to see how this plays out. These are two decks that are kind of new, haven't seen a lot of them.
I've only just
It'll be interesting to see how they play out in a post-survival world.
Yep.
I'm excited to watch this match.
Yeah, I'm excited to see this Welder deck perform, and yeah, I mean his opponent's deck is pretty interesting looking as well.
I usually do high roll.
Gotta love all those blue cards: Standstill, Brainstorm, Force of Will, Counterspell, Fact or Fiction. Love the Fact or Fiction.
Does this deck have a name, the deck that Blake Kinsey's playing? If it does, tweet at us and we'll start calling it by whatever it's supposed to be called.
Right on.
Because it seems like a deck that's probably been invented at some point before,
Like
but
a
it was just
4-color.
under the radar.
It's like a green, black, white Standstill. Green, black, white, blue Standstill deck.
Yeah. We'll try and get a name on that. In the meantime, and then Goblin Welder's an interesting card. It's seen a lot of play, obviously very powerful. Seen some vintage play, saw legacy play, saw play and extended in a deck called Teen Titans back in the day. And now it's cool that it's back here. It's a card that's faded in and out, and it's neat to know that it's here right now. So, looks like the game has started. Blake won the roll, and he's going to start off with a Tropical Island. Fetching into a duel, and we'll see what action he's got now. Looks like his turn 1 plays are Brainstorm. Yeah, just Brainstorm. But you want to fetch in this format to avoid like a random stifle out of Merfolk or something, right?
If it's got Dreadnought, it's probably Dreadstill. If not, it's Landstill.
There's no Dreadnought. Oh yeah, Landstill. This is like a 4-color Landstill variant. Normally I've seen Landstill as 2 colors, like, you know, blue-white.
Right.
But this has Nantuko Monastery, Standstill. Yep. This is definitely 4-color Landstill. I remember seeing this deck at one point. So.
I like Jack Bliss's response to the Shahrazad question. The only reason he'd play it is for playing Inception: The Gathering.
True enough.
Yeah.
I had a friend who was a judge, and he had a deck that put it like Shahrazad on Panoptic Mirror, would like fork it, twin cast it, put on Spellweaver Helix, do all these crazy things, and it was a pretty absurd deck. You would be playing sub games inside of sub games.
It sounds like Inception. I mean, pretty much. That's great. So, meanwhile, the game is underway.
And Goblin Welder's on the battlefield.
So apparently, it's a variation of a top 8 deck from the GP, from some GP.
I assume the recent GP that occurred. Yeah. I mean, I've seen Landstill decks in the past, but this is interesting in that it's 4 colors. And I mean, I do remember seeing this at one point. Because the Nantuko Monastery especially sticks out as me as a card I've seen before. Because basically, for those who are new here, the way the deck works is like you sit behind a Standstill, and your opponent has to break it because you're using cards like Mishra's Factory and Nantuko Monastery, which will just get in for damage. And oh man, Michael shows off one of those main deck rebs. One of the many strengths of playing a deck that can abuse Painter Servant is you get to play with all these red elemental blasts and pyroblasts. And against blue decks, you're just so far ahead. Against Merfolk or whatever, you know, you have 1 mana destroy a creature, 1 mana destroy a land. It's so powerful. And so he gets another land, and she'll let Goblin Welder. That welder's going to do some welding. Not right now, but he will soon enough. It's very easy to cheat his cost. For those who don't know what he does, he's 1 mana, 1 red mana for a 1/1, and he says tap, exchange an artifact on the battlefield with an artifact in your graveyard. Okay. Now that card is obviously absurd because you can trade up a card like an artifact land, a Mox Opal, any small little artifact, even a Sense's Divining Top, whatever you want to do for a card. Sometimes it'll be like a Mindslaver or whatever, Sundering Titan. But in this deck, he's trading it up for cards like Grindstone or Lion's Eye Diamond, potentially. Or at least trading out Lion's Eye Diamonds to get mana. And then the combo, the kill of the deck, is you have Painter Servant and Grindstone. You play Painter Servant, you choose one color. Every card in their deck is that color. And then you play Grindstone and mill their whole deck. So
Does he have a Cunning Wish package?
he does not have a Cunning Wish
Okay.
package. I remember this deck was played shortly after Painter Servant came out, and Ruben Bressler made top 16, I want to say, top 32 of Grand Prix Chicago a couple of years ago, the Legacy Grand Prix with it. So here comes Painter Servant. So he has 1/2 of the combo. Now all it takes is a Grindstone, and he's 1 activation away, except that Painter Servant is going to hit the bin. Although it's not that scary because you can just weld it out and be like, okay, well fine, I'll trade it this Mox Opal for the Painter Servant. So Counter Magic is inherently weak against this deck. It's got main deck Rebs, it's got main deck Pyroblasts, and that makes it much, so good against any blue deck because it's easy to get around the Counter Magic. You can beat their blue cards. Looks like Mike is only playing 1 Reb and 1 Pyroblast, but even then, there's just extra removal spells.
Yeah.
And after sideboarding, he boards up to 6 total, which is pretty impressive.
So is that two deeds in Kinsey's hand? Yes, that was deed. and
There's
that's
one
of
deed,
them.
and deed definitely seems good against this deck.
I see.
Can wipe the board for 1 mana. He can get rid of that Mox Opal and that Goblin Welder.
He's got it right there on board. He's also got, looks like Brainstorm and so Brainstorm, Deed, and I think Nantuko Monastery in his hand. Is that what that is?
It looks like Ancient Tomb.
Oh, it does look like Ancient Tomb.
No,
or Wasteland.
no, that's Nantuko Monastery.
Or is it? Or is it?
That looks like Nantuko
Sorry, I
Monastery.
mean, he keeps flipping
that's
it.
Nantuko Monastery.
Okay, so I was right the first time.
Yeah, you were accurate.
It's tough when
Alright,
they do the
so,
Kibler shuffle there.
So
not quite as.
it looks like he's got a Daze and an Intuition in his hand for Mike, and he's reordering some cards with his top. Seems like a good position for Mike. This is a pretty exciting deck.
Yeah, I mean, there is that Deed there though.
Yeah, that Deed is definitely going to be an issue.
So there's the Factor Fiction in his hand. In the tank. So, we maybe. Is it? Yeah. What time is it? Almost 1 o'clock. 10 minutes. We're gonna open the first clue. Even though
After this match, I think is when we'll start it.
Okay. Glenn said adhere to that. So.
Okay.
Let me double check. Glenn. I'm sorry. Which one are we adhering to? The time. Most important. Got it.
Yeah. So after this match ends, we'll open our first clue for the Super Secret Mystery Writer.
Either after this match or maybe after this game while they're shuffling up.
Potentially after this game. Yeah, while they're shuffling up, that sounds good too. So that's pretty exciting.
Maybe right now.
Maybe right now. You want to open it now? Or you want to wait 10 minutes?
Yeah, let's since this game, let's let the game, let the match continue.
Yeah, and if they have a third game, then we'll go back to it.
Yeah, that sounds good. Sounds like a plan.
Sounds great.
All right, so Michael Pozsgay takes game 1 from pretty good board position. How about those sleeves? What is that? That's like that.
Maritime Guard.
Yeah,
Is that what that guy's called?
I think so. Let's double check it. But I remember liking the artwork when I saw it. But
Yep,
yeah,
Maritime
Guard from M11. Unfortunately, it's just a 1-3 for 2, and not really
Card
one of
is
those
sweet
cards
and
that
limited,
we.
and by
Well,
sweet I mean it's playable sometimes. So
Right.
if you look over there, so Mike must have worked on the deck with somebody and has some sideboarding notes, and this is a change that happened recently.
yeah, that's a heck of a notebook. He's got. Heads up.
Yeah. The camera, he put it away before the camera flipped to him. But on our screen, he had pulled out some sideboarding notes and was looking at the sideboarding for the event.
Yeah, it was like a full
A
8.5
full
by an
page
11
with
page
lots of words
yeah,
written on it.
It was typed.
So somebody must have worked with some people. I think Nick Spagnuolo might also be playing this deck. But
I think so.
So the deck this last week also had this combo, and he's got it here too. It's a combination of Show and Tell and Emrakul to Aeon's Torn. So after sideboarding, when they bring in their hate, you can just cast Show and Tell, put Emrakul into play.
Yeah.
And we all know what happens then.
Show and Tell is one of those cards that I've opened so much Urza Saga, and then I was not as good at pointing out or figuring out what cards were so good back then, and I'm sure I traded away like so many good cards. But when Show and Tell started seeing more and more play in Legacy recently, I guess over the past few months or so, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it stopped playing Reanimator when that was big
Yeah.
last year. Is when it really started catching up.
Yeah, Big Head Joe calls me or emailed me and said, see if you have any Show and Tell, because that card's starting to go up in value, and of course I have none.
Not much I could do at that point.
All right, well, let's see. Let's see what we got. So the players are sideboarding. Do you think Pozsgay is going to go for the Emrakul package?
Yeah,
here?
I think he should. I don't know if it's as much of a surprise, considering the deck, was he's playing pretty much the same list from last week, but it's still it's still a strong option. It's tough to Pernicious Deed away and Emrakul.
Yeah, it's true. I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't know that's that. Although
But on the flip side, his opponent does have Diabolic Edict in his deck, so he can edict away.
he can deal with Emrakul, right? But not that he saw
agree.
that. Like I don't know
Right.
that we saw an edict.
Well, I mean, it depends if it's how stock it is or if he just has the read.
right.
It could be interesting if we go to a game 3 to see how he sideboards. I mean, the other thing is, of course, is he has Welders and Painter Servants and Trinket Mages, and I don't know how many of those get cut for Emrakul.
Right.
The Emrakul package, but those would be other creatures that could be sacrificed to the Ds or to the Edicts.
Yeah.
So players shuffling, randomizing their decks, and it's back, about ready to draw their opening hands. Let's see what happens.
So apparently this is the exact 75 that Caleb Durwood played in Kansas City to a top 16 finish. We pretty much figured that out, but it is just confirming that.
All right, so the players have their opening hands, and we'll see what's going on here. Okay, so
Tropical
it's
Island.
off the Tropical Island. No fetch this time. And I see a Goblin Welder there,
yeah,
so he
yeah,
definitely
it's-
left that part in.
Yep. So it starts off with the Seat of the Synod.
And here's the top.
Top.
Oh yes, Sensei's Divining Top.
Already
That
has
is
the
the card.
active Mox Opal.
Pretty
Metal craft.
impressive. Turn one.
I'll play a Goblin Welder.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
And that is a Diabolic Edict over in Blake's hand, so
He was
he's got those.
keeping those in. He can potentially play the Edict now if he wants.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know how concerned is he about the
I
Welder.
think clearing that Welder is probably pretty important unless he's got a better play. Now, the
Yeah.
Deed in his hand will take care of that Welder, or maybe he wants to sit on that counterspell. He's just going to sit on the counterspell.
Yeah.
The thing is, Deed's an instant, and that Welder's not really doing a lot
What
right
is it?
now.
What counter?
Or
Does
sorry,
he
not
have
Deed.
actual counterspell?
He
Is
has
that
actual
what-
counterspell,
Okay.
yeah. Edict is an instant, and so he can
That's right. That's right. I forgot about that. I'm so used to like.
Chainer's Edict
yeah,
and Cruel
exactly.
Edict, sure. So he can just sit on it and pass back with counterspell up, and that Welder's not doing anything dangerous.
Right.
So right now he can just go, all right, Edict do.
Pozsgay goes land go and end of turn Edict.
But let's
from
see,
Blake.
there's some options over there.
Yeah, he's trying to think about what to do here. Decides he wants to
Tap 3.
Tap 3,
And
and
here's an intuition. So
yeah.
let's go see what he gets here. Intuition is a card that's pretty powerful, but it hasn't seen a ton of play lately.
Yeah.
But without survival, I think we'll start seeing more of it. What it does, for those who don't know, is you just search your deck for 3 cards, and you get 1, and the other 2 go to your graveyard. But there's no restriction on it, like there is with Gifts Ungiven or anything like that.
So basically you can search for three copies of the same card,
Right.
and your opponent chooses which card you get. But obviously, getting 3 copies of the same card,
You're right.
your opponent's kind of like, well, you get one.
So you can either use it as a tutor. There's other ways you can abuse it. In the old days, we got 3 accumulated knowledges and just started drawing cards.
Accumulated knowledge with intuition. Such a great
But
combo.
these days, people get like Vengevines or all kinds of crazy stuff. And here,
We
looks
got
like
Lion's Eye Diamond, Grindstone. Grindstone? Is
yeah,
it?
Lion's Eye Diamond, Grindstone, and I'm not sure what the third card is.
I think it may have been another Grindstone.
Yeah, another
Looks
Grindstone.
like it.
So that way he guaranteed that a Grindstone got into his graveyard, and so now he can weld the Grindstone into play, and then he's just a painter servant away from completing his combo. Oh, he's looking like he's gonna trade out that Mox Opal.
Good play, considering that it's legendary. You know, that's one of those things that, you know, makes the subsequent Mox Opals a dead card. So,
Yeah.
but no, he goes with the goes for the seat, or the seat of the synod.
Yeah, so he trades out the seat for
Right.
Lion's Eye Diamond.
And now finally the edict resolves,
And
the welder's gone.
Lion's Eye Diamond does a lot of things in this deck. Besides just going in and out, you can crack it and then bring a card back from your graveyard with Welder. You
Yeah.
can also get cards into your graveyard, so you can cheat them into play if you have Welder on the battlefield. So you could discard your Grindstone and switch a card out for your Grindstone.
Yeah, so many synergies.
Yeah, it's actually a surprisingly synergistic deck for the kind of obtuse combo it uses that's
Right.
separated by several years. But
So
there's
they
the
go with
deed,
and he's just gonna
and
crack it for
that's
the.
gonna be an issue.
Take care of. And he's
And
like,
the
yeah,
artifact
and that.
land goes too.
It's like,
So Mike is left with a Senses Divining Top.
that is it looks like a blowout to me.
Yeah.
I'll play one
welcome
card
to Deed World.
and clear your board, like your entire board, lands and all.
Rough. Oh.
Oh, I'm gonna tweet about that one. If I can.
Deed is good at that. I mean, against Affinity, we saw earlier too. Against Patrick Chapin, Alex Tamblyn cracked a Deed, got rid of all the artifact lands, Arcbound Worker, all those guys. It was us left with just a Frogmite. It's it can be pretty overpowering. Man. Yeah, it's not looking good for Mike. I mean, he's staying in it. They're not really under any time constraints, so he might as well see as much of Blake's deck as possible, try and get a read on what's going on. But not a good position to be in. Trying so he passes back, and now he's got Nantuko Monastery and Mistress Factory. The Monastery isn't active yet. It requires Threshold. So Mike's going to draw from the top, and he does find a Senses Divining Top on the top of his library. Or a Seat of the Synod on top of his library,
Right.
which is fortunate. Let's see. So in our other matchup,
The other finalist from the standard portion,
Yeah,
Alex
so-
Bertoncini.
so we already saw Adam Prozac fall in this event, 0-2, and after winning round 1, Alex Bertoncini
Bertoncini.
won, just lost with his Merfolk deck against Sam Pardee with Junk. So Alex already down to 1-1, Prozac down. We could quickly see Alex eliminated. They were hoping to have a run back. They both really like Legacy. They played it a lot, but we're not sure what's going to go on here. So back to the match at hand. Mike is trying to rebuild, but
Yeah.
it looks bad. I mean, he's got
Having a little trouble.
wastelanded.
Yeah, he found
I
the
mean,
land on top.
This game
Yeah,
is
he did.
basically Blake's. At this point, it's just theatrics to see what actually happens.
Right. Blake has 5 permanents to Pozgay's 1.
And here comes the
And,
Mistress Factory.
Pozgay has 0 mana.
I mean-
no way to generate mana at the moment.
Now, I mean, Mike has to play this out here because, once again, they're not under time constraints. And if Blake has absolutely nothing, and Mike draws like maybe 4 lands in a row, he might have a shot at this game. So you have to stay in it. There's no reason to concede. You want to get information, but you're not really getting a lot. But for Blake, it's just a matter of closing the game out.
Right on. And he's choosing to do it with some man lands and standstill.
There goes standstill.
That's the land still, right there.
Yep, and in there. I don't know if I would have cast that standstill.
No,
But
I mean, he's in a position right now where he can just keep slamming in with the lands, and not only is Pozsgay in a situation where he can't even cast anything anyway.
Well, so the reason why I didn't want to crack that standstill is I think at this point you just want to close as fast as possible. And the way to do that is by getting cards into your graveyard so your monasteries can become active.
Fair enough.
And like this turn he drew a Brainstorm, for example.
And now he doesn't
want to
cast
that
play it,
to,
right.
you know, just
Good point.
Phil's graveyard.
I like your strategy better, actually.
But, you know, I think he's still got this one pretty much on lock. It's just a matter of time. We're getting a report in from our other feature match now. Looks like Ian
Bartoloni expected the Spanish Inquisition, apparently, as he beat Kenny G. Kenny G with the Spanish Inquisition. Is that that's his name, Kenny G?
All right. So he beat so Goblins beat up Spanish Inquisition over there.
Right. Goblins expecting the Spanish Inquisition. 2-0. So
2-0. So
Bartoloni takes that match.
So another Goblins deck off to a quick 2-0 start here at the Star City Open Series here in San Jose. And for those who are just joining us, I'm Gavin Verhey, joined by Joey Pasco, and you're watching the Star City Games Open Series Round 3 of the Legacy portion here in San Jose. And you're watching Michael Pozsgay with his blue-red welder deck that just got top 16 last week in the hands of Caleb Durwald.
I believe the name is Welder's Servant, I think is the official name of the deck.
Welder's Servant, yeah. And Durwald just apparently sent Mike the list, sent all the sideboarding notes, told him how to play, and he's like, all right, well, I'll play this. Blake, on the other hand, a little more of an ominous figure we don't know that much about, a little mysterious, but he's playing 4-color
land still,
which is really interesting.
Some pernicious deeds and you know, the standstill, brainstorm, force of will, counterspell, factor fiction.
So that's a couple decks that may not have thrived. In the meantime, while these guys are sideboarding and shuffling and all that wonderful stuff, we have our first clue to who the mystery writer is. For those who don't know and have been following along, Steve Sadin, Star City's editor, said on this article on Friday that we were getting a new writer. We already got Flores, and we don't know who the other one is. So we're going to find out through clues that are revealed today. And we get to open up one every round or at different time intervals. And so we're going to open up our first clue right now, just past 1 p.m. here in California. So here we are. Let's see what it is. All right?
So everybody the first waiting? Clue for the super secret
first
writing.
Clue
You know, hold up. I'm going to tweet it first so that everybody knows. All right.
All right. We'll tweet it.
All right.
No peeking by me.
First clue for the...
And whoever this writer is, I'm pretty excited. Star City's really been building their writer base, and I don't really know who else they could get.
Yeah.
At this point, I mean, it seems like when you look at who we have, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we have Mike Jacob, we've got Patrick Chapin, we have Brian Kibler, we have all the guys who've been doing well in the Open Series recently. We just have so many different great writers. I mean, maybe Conley. I could see Conley coming over.
Conley. That'd be interesting. The deck doctor.
The deck doctor himself.
Mr. Magical Christmas Land.
All right, so it's tweeted. I think we can look at it now.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's see what the clue is. Here's the clue. The clue is clue number 1. He'll be competing at Pro Tour Paris. So this tells us two things.
He's qualified for the Pro Tour.
And it's a guy.
Oh, that's right. Very, very good.
So we know it's not Michelle Bush or, I don't know, any of those old players coming back.
But will it be competing? It may be competing in a hat competition in Paris. We don't know.
Oh, it says PT Paris.
Right, because that could be me. That could be me. I could be in a side event at Pro Tour Paris.
It's Magic Weekend Paris.
It is.
No. So it's, the Pro Tour is actually the Pro Tour.
You're competing in
the Pro Tour Paris, right?
And we're going to take this at
so Rashad's hat, I guess, is still in the mix just because it could be on someone who's competing in the Pro Tour.
Yeah, but I don't know. See, does the hat have a gender?
So, but more importantly, really getting to the heart of this clue. So this doesn't really help us that much. Conley's still on the table.
That's true. The deck doctor. Who else competing at Pro Tour Paris that we don't, that we don't already have as a Star City writer? Wow.
I mean, there's a lot of options.
There's a lot of options.
We'll bring up the list.
Tweet at us. Yeah, we should bring up a list. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll bring up on a after this match. We'll talk about it some more.
Okay.
We gotta get to the game now, but we'll bring up all of the players qualified for the Pro Tour, and we'll kind of go from there. In the meantime, tweet at us what you think it could possibly be.
This could be any of the Hall of Famers too.
Oh, that'd be cool to get some of those guys running for us too. Maybe we get Darwin Castle.
We have a first guest, Brad Nelson. Could be. It's not this guy. Still had these.
All right. Well, yeah. James Dykes is not a new super secret writer apparently. So Blake Kinsey's taking a mulligan here. Still had all these on Twitter.
Guillaume Matignon.
We already have Guillaume Matignon.
We have another guest for Brad Nelson.
Another guest for Brad Nelson. Jeez. People
So
really,
if we were
really
taking
liking Brad.
taking votes, we have it's Brad. It's only 2-1 vote. Brad Nelson over Guillaume
I
Matignon.
think that'd be sweet if we got Brad.
That would be. And
to
he's
have him ready.
certainly competing at Pro Tour Paris
Yeah,
for a
competing
number of things.
For a
right?
number of things, yeah. Player of the Year title on the line for him there.
Absolutely.
With 4 minutes remaining in the game, the Chicago Bears have a commanding 35-10 lead on the Seattle Seahawks.
Finkel is obviously one people have been talking about.
Right,
like,
that's why I was saying it could be any of the Hall of Famers.
Finkel.
Bob Marr.
Bob Marr, I'd love to. Oh man, I think Bob
That
Redden would be great.
really cool.
I mean,
I don't know that he.
so it's gonna be a returning writer, right? Because Flores was returning. So what about Zvi, right? Like Zvi wrote a lot.
Do we know it's a returning writer though?
No, but I mean, it kind of makes sense because he said he kept calling these people up, right? In his article, Steve was like, I kept calling these people up, trying to get them to write for us. And Steve knows Zvi really well.
Okay. They're both New Yorkers.
Right, they're both New Yorkers. They're both hanging out. They test together. That makes sense, right? Because he got Mike, who he tests with.
Right.
Now, what about Zvi? Zvi's, still going to a lot of the Pro Tours. He's on Team Mythic, worked with a lot of those guys. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty reasonable guess.
I'd guess BDM, but he's not competing in Pro Tour.
I guess not. Only in the Best Voice competition.
Yeah.
All right, so looks like we're underway here. Mike leads off with Ancient Tomb, Powerful
Tomb.
Land in the top,
Yeah.
and he's going to be able to activate that top too.
Yeah. And that looks to be what he's doing. Matt Marr.
Matt Marr,
Nick Spagnuolo.
Nick Spagnuolo.
We got another Finkel guess here.
Oh, I'd love to have Nick Spagnuolo right for us too. He's also in that area, right? I'm trying to think of people that Steve would know and be calling up because that's
Right.
something that.
Alex Bertoncini already writes for us, right?
Yeah, Alex already writes for us.
Let's see. So,
So yeah, why don't we go ahead and pull up that list while this game's going on? In the meantime,
do you know how to grab that list? Or
oh
I
yeah,
don't
yeah,
know where to
I'll
grab
get
it,
there.
yeah.
I'll get there. So in the
I'm
meantime,
not used to looking that up, so
it's
I
cool.
don't even know.
So in the meantime, back in this game, we had turn 1 Ancient Tomb and into top activation, which is a pretty strong play there.
Nice turn 1 play, setting up his draws. Blake leads with a Tropical Island and passes the turn, and Michael Pozsgay
I mean,
draws his card, plays what looks to be an Ancient Den. Or is that I get them mixed
Great
up.
Furnace.
Great Furnace, that's right. Ancient Den's the white one.
who thought? I mean,
Um,
seriously, who thought that a 2-mana land, the Ancient Tomb, was remotely fair? Like, yeah, I'll take 2 damage and.
Right. Yeah, I remember playing that in Standard. So.
Wow, that is old.
Yeah, it looks like Blake attempted to brainstorm, but it was countered. And so he plays a Wasteland, and looks like he's going to take out. He's trying to figure out what to take
All right,
out.
takes
Take out the Ancient Tomb.
Yeah, good call.
Now, yeah. We have another bold prediction for LSV.
Let's see. So the game's proceeding along. Mike's recovering after his Ancient Tomb got taken out. Man, this red-blue welder deck looks really cool. I think it's really neat.
Yeah, I'm having fun watching it, although that Pernicious Deed certainly
Cool.
deals with it pretty
Yeah.
handily. And Engineered Explosives is another one that's a pretty strong play against it. And Blake's got one sitting on top of his hand right now. Meanwhile, Pozgay plays a welder and a polluted delta. So Kinsey can use Engineered Explosives here if he'd like. to deal with a welder and a top, but doesn't seem like.
So I'm looking at down the list of qualified players. Another name that's on here, Paulo Vitor Rosa.
Paulo Vitor, yeah, that would be nice.
Let's see, Love Yance, is that how you say it?
Love Yance,
Love
yeah.
Yance?
Shark Hat, I think.
Shark Hat, it's true.
How I refer to him. It's easier to pronounce, too.
And, but of course, I don't think that's someone that Steve would have necessarily called up either.
Right. But, you know, these are some options.
Let's see, Jonathan Randall. Oh, he already writes for us.
It's too hot to handle, that Jonathan Randall.
Too hot to handle. Bertil Elfgren. Chris Calcano, don't we already have him?
I think, I feel like I've seen some Calcano on. No Calcano. Maybe it's Calcano. He's a possibility.
Calcano, someone Steve would definitely call up. Like,
yeah, he's another New
friends.
Yorker. Yeah. Speaking of New Yorkers, Alex Bertoncini.
1-1 now, Alex, correct?
2-1.
2-1.
Yeah.
Sorry. So Alice is 2-1 after this round. So let's see, back to the game. So Blake is stuck on lands here.
Yeah.
And despite that wasteland, he kind of needed it for mana.
Yeah,
and now Mike is starting to get ahead. He's got Painter Servant and Goblin Welder on the battlefield.
With a polluted delta that fetched for an island, it looks like. So he's got a. Okay, we just got a Wesco check as a suggestion. I don't know. That wouldn't be so great. Like we had Wesco. Oh, he's back. 6 weeks later or whatever, however many weeks. Right.
So Hydroblast will take out that Goblin Welder. Yeah. So some other options looking down the list right now that we have Josh Utter-Layton, Shuhei Nakamura.
Shuhei Nakamura
would be awesome.
David Ochoa.
Maureen LeBear, although he's written for us in the past. It'd be great to have him back again. Robert Jerkovic, Martin Yuza. Martin would be great. I think Steve knows Martin a little bit too. Hard to call him considering the location and all, but
doesn't mean he can't write.
Could be metaphorical.
Yeah. So let's see. It looks like the welder got taken out by the Hydroblast. And Pozsgay plays a Mox Opal. That is, he does have Metalcraft. Oh, okay. The Wesco check was for all the betting on who it is. Sorry. I was wondering, but I didn't remember hearing anybody say bet. Maybe we were.
Another option, Paul Reitzel.
Paul Reitzel, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that would be good.
Paul Reitzel is really awesome. He wrote a great Amsterdam tournament report you all should read.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. Anthony Eason, I guess we have here.
Anthony Eason?
Saito. Probably not.
Don't think we'll have Saito ready for us.
I'll at least take a guess and say it's not Saito.
So looking back at the game right now, I mean, there's an explosives for 1 as Blake desperately digs for land.
Right, but
and Mike is also not doing a ton, but he's got Top and Painter Servant, which are 2 pieces that are important. His Goblin Welder was just taken out.
What happened? How did he lose the Opal? What did I miss?
The Goblin Welder?
Did he play another welder and another? Oh, yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out. He played an Opal.
He got Hydroblasted. That's how Goblin Welder died.
Right, and then Pozsgay played an Opal.
It got spell pierced.
Is that what happened? Okay, it was on the battlefield.
Yeah,
I didn't realize.
That's why spell pierced is in the graveyard. I'm actually looking down this list right now, but
I thought the Opal was actually online already. Like
Yu Watanabe, Brian Kowal. I would be so excited if Brian Kowal is writing. All right, so it looks like Mike takes that match.
Yeah, I mean, pretty anticlimactic game 3 there with Blake on 1 mana after wastelanding his Pozsgay's land.
Did that tweet just say what I thought it said? Oh, is that Rashad who said that? Secret writer is Mark Justice. Do you know he started a riot once? For those who haven't seen them, we talked about this yesterday.